Lately, things have got so unreal that I'm compelled to quote the very beginning of this session with the wise words of a memer. A guy drank a bad soup, and now I'm here striving for my degree in a country whose economy is burdened on the alcoholics. Guys and girls, welcome to the real life version of the craziest ever compilations of The Simpsons 2020. The novel virus, which has crammed us into the place where we, as young bloods, wish to spend the least of our breaths, will have a deep rooted effect on the mankind. It is not just you, there are over 7 billion others who are all set to explore the unprecedented now and dive into the unknown. There has been massive change in the perspective. The reverberation of this COVID attack would not only give birth to a new normal, but will descend into a new world. If the Zen in Gen Z stands for zeal, then the zeal is definitely for the word entrepreneurship. The lone word triggers the cerebrum of many and accelerates the dopamine to the skies. The entrepreneurial mindset of the millennials is so strong that they are even ready to forsake their regular, well-paid and stable jobs and opt for their desired startups, woven with the threads of their vision. The newly launched IEEE NCO e-cell entitled A StartHub envisions to be an organization volunteering this generation to breathe in the air of its choice. StartHub is overjoyed to welcome you all to this webinar session themed Post COVID-19 Entrepreneurship Strategies. The speaker, Dr.Sudeendra Kaushik, who has privileged us by sharing the IEEE NCO screen channel, would be lettering us to the unknowns of the new battlefield and the new niches to rule them. In short, scheme sabko chilla chilla kar batai jayegi. I will now take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed guest of the hour, Dr. Sudeendra sir. Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Aditi. Nice to be here
Just
with you.
a minor piece of introduction before you begin, sir.
Sure.
Well, it has to be minor because the list is so long. The list of achievements attached to this name is long enough that it might take us another webinar to just read out the concern header. An alma mater of the Mysore University, Mr. Kaushik went on to pursue his post-grad degree and made IMK proud. The inauguration of his prominent career affair kick-started by working as a senior manager at BPL. Sir then served for approximately 12 and a half years, in fact, at Philips and was crowned as the program manager. Over the course of time, companies like NXP Semiconductors, Trident Microsystems, and gigantics like HCL were blessed with his charismatic presence. Presently, Sir presides as the innovator at Prasu. This distinguished element of IEEE TEMS is more of an ambidextrous when it comes to profession. He is a well-acclaimed TEDx speaker and has recently tried his wits in stand-up comedy. You can get the video on YouTube; it's there. And I believe it would be just unjust on my part if I keep the video space occupied to myself and consume the speaker audience interaction time. So without further ado, just a suggestion to the startup buffs out there. This is your moment. Make the best out of it and don't suppress the queries budding in that beautiful, curious mind of yours. Drop them down in the chat box below. They will be answered and entertained by the speaker of our today's event. Seize the virtual podium, Captain. Presenting next on the screen, Dr. Sudeendra Kaushik to you all.
Thank you, Aditi. So nice of you to invite me and introduce me so nicely. So I'll go to the share screen mode for my presentation. I'll use some slides.
As for the introduction, it was hardly anything of what.
That's nice of you. Nice of you. Yes.
So I'm now using my screen, and you will be presenting it. Okay, sir.
So I guess you can see my screen now. So Aditi, you are able to see my screen. Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much. So my emails are at the bottom of the slide. So thank you once again for being invited to speak to you. Like she said, you are the young, bright minds. And I honestly believe that you're the future. I was talking to Aditi, Vipra, and Animesh as such before the call. And wonderful effort to make this happen. So I will not do this. The reason I'm showing about what I did is, as part of my company, we work with industry, academia, and startups. And when I say industry, I mean the biggies like this. I work with them day in and day out. And when I talk about academia partners, many of the premier institutes in India and abroad, San Jose University in California, etc. So also some professional bodies like CAI and startup accelerators like IMAX, etc. Why I'm telling you all this is what I'm going to share today is going to be a culmination of my learning from these places. Okay, there is a clear connection between these three aspects. So if there is anything that you don't get an answer or clarity for, please start typing your questions as soon as you get them. But we will discuss them at the end of the session, which I'm sure we'll have sufficient time to have a chat. So now every business needs innovation, whether it is with technology, high technology, low technology, it doesn't matter. Every business will look for new products, new services, new processes, new models, etc. And I'll talk a little bit about this. And also something most important for current times is how do you do patents and intellectual property? IP stands for intellectual property, with the prime focus for business being how to generate revenue. Revenue creates wealth, and wealth creates healthy lifestyle as well. So with this as background context, we are going to discuss some things. So you can have usually two kinds of careers. We are known to these two careers called being how to be an entrepreneur, where you start your own company. It need not be right after college. It can be at any point of time. You can be an employee as well. So go and work for a company. Now, do not have any notion that one is better than the other. Being an employee is good for some reasons. Being an entrepreneur is good for different reasons. It all depends on how you want to be and what you want to do with those things. Okay. But having said that, this is a classical way how both are rooted in innovation. Whether you are doing a job of an employee working for someone or your own company. But there's a third flavor which I want you to consider today, though it was not the main topic, which is called intrapreneur. Today, if you type intrapreneur in Microsoft Word, you will get a red underline showing that it is spelling mistake. Okay, and it is not a spelling mistake. It's a very contemporary research topic, which even myself I'm working on it with different universities. Is how can be a person who is working for a company behave like a person that who is working for himself? So if you can see it, it's a combination between an entrepreneur and an employee. So intrapreneur is a combination of being an entrepreneur and an employee. There are certain dimensions. So if you look at these three elements on the right of your screen from a risk perspective, the least risk is being an employee. I'll just give you simple examples. I was talking to a US team a couple of days ago where I said the same thing. If I want to take off as an employee tomorrow, I can just call my employer or my boss and say, I have this and this issue, I will not be able to come. But as an entrepreneur, suppose you're having a shop, and if you don't go, the shop will be closed, right? So that is a difference between what you're talking about as a risk. As an employee, you get money in your account, whatever happens or not. Somebody keeps making decisions for you. But as an entrepreneur, every decision is made by you, including which computer to buy, which broom to buy, which tissue paper to buy, everything is yours, right? Intrapreneur is a combination of this. It is like running your own business, but within a company. Now, why this is important at the upfront of this session is it's all about you. This session, I will not gain or I will not lose as much as you will do. And if it is something that you want to use as an input to make some choices, I'll be the happiest. So it is basically what do you really, 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 really want to do? And it is something that when I was at your age and stage, I did not give too much thought about. But all I knew was I wanted to do well, whatever I wanted to do. I'll be very frank with you. If you had asked me then, and I can lie to you that no, I wanted to be a vice president, which I became in 2014. No. Somewhere along the line, I developed that ambition, what I could be, based on what I can do really well. And you have to figure out what is it that you can do really well. And you might have heard a lot of people saying, follow your passion, etc., etc. I don't think it's completely true. I don't think it's completely even productive and efficient to think of your passion. I mean, if artists only get up and work whenever they feel like, you wouldn't get your money or salaries to live, right? So the point is, rather than following passion, you should follow your temperament. Now, look out about temperament after you finish this web session. What is temperament? Temperament is about how you deal with things. What makes you, all of us are impatient, but for different things. Okay, all of get angry, but for different things, right? So temperament is what you can bear happily to do and go after. So you have to find out for yourself what is it that you really want to do. But there is a link to start with, which from Dr. Nicholson from 3M said, research converts money into knowledge. Okay, research converts money into knowledge. I get a grant, I get a fund, I get to study something, and somebody pays me to do the study, and I publish a paper, right? But what does innovation do is convert that knowledge into money back. And if you observe carefully, the money coming out of innovation is much bigger than the money that went into research. That should be the sustainable cycle, right? So research converts money into knowledge, innovation converts knowledge into money. And I'll give some examples in a bit. So if you put it in the context of business, research converts money into knowledge, innovation converts knowledge into money, and business will scale that money. So I have just split that part into two, and a part of that money comes back to research, and it is a closed loop. So those of you are engineers, and especially electronics, electrical control systems, and communication systems engineers, closed loop systems are the most stable systems, especially when they can sustain over a period of time. You have to understand all these elements are necessary to have a good connection between research, innovation, and business. Business can be company, and when a company starts, it's an entrepreneur, right? Every entrepreneur wants to make it into an organization. Every company was once an entrepreneur small business, right? Now, what is innovation? Let's spend a few minutes. So, very simple definition: develop something new is innovation, but that is of use. So, developing something new only is very easy. I can make a shirt tomorrow or a kurti with only one sleeve. It is new, right? There is nothing, that's the definition. I have met it. But which is of use? How many people will buy that kurti with one sleeve and one without? Or a t-shirt with one sleeve and one without? So the second part is where you establish yourself as a good entrepreneur or not, as a good businessman or not. Anybody and everybody, even thieves try to innovate, but they have to make sure that it is useful to their own business. So innovation and entrepreneurship is in a way explainable this way. While innovation is about developing something new, entrepreneurship is making sure that it can be of some use to someone. Whether it's a PPE kit in the COVID scenario, whether it's a thermometer, whether it's a glove, whether it's a spray, whether it's I saw a couple of days ago, I went to Titan showroom. They had a foot rug in a kind of a tray which was soaked in some liquid. So they asked me to step through that. So they have innovated something for themselves where the foot is also sanitized because they are not sure where the foot was before. So the key part is the second part. And people need the first part to use the second part. If you go to walk into a normal supermarket, say like a mall or a big bazaar, you can easily find 25 to 30 varieties of toothpaste. Now, I will not buy 30 kinds of toothpaste. Even if I buy one a month, I need 3 years to finish them, right? So the idea is I will buy which is of use to me, not everything that is of something which is new. Now, how is it that innovation is? You have an opportunity to innovate and you find a solution which is typically a solution. And when the solution is new and useful, you get innovation. And that innovation can lead to business. And that business can lead to growth. That growth can lead to wealth, and that wealth can make people live comfortably. That is the whole point. You have to think about humanity in that because you and me are still part of the people who will buy something that you innovate. So opportunity can be new, solution can be new. Okay, so that means for a given problem, you can have multiple solutions. Or you can have a new problem for which you want to think about a solution. You might think, what is that could be a new problem? That also we'll discuss in a moment. But whatever it is, if you rearrange this, it is important to understand the value is key. Like I talked to you about, you and me walk into a superstore to buy a product or something from a company. What do we give? We always take out money from our pocket. We pay money wherever we want something. So what does the company give us in return? No, it is not product, it is not service. It is value. I'm not buying toothpaste. I'm buying a solution to keep my oral hygiene intact. Please understand, I'm not buying aloe vera toothpaste because somebody made aloe vera toothpaste. I'm not buying charcoal, the same company who said charcoal is bad, I'm making charcoal toothpaste now. I'm not buying it because they are making. I buy it because there is what's in it for me. I find value in it. And it is through a toothpaste I'm finding value. Through a toothbrush, through a car, through a mobile phone, through whatever it is, I find value. So I pay money for the value you get. Now think, you are both a customer and you are both an entrepreneur. When you are an entrepreneur, you have to think and force yourself, what does my customer want? And that is the key to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay. Now the value in entrepreneurship, then, if you can rearrange what I showed a minute ago, opportunity on one side, you find a solution for that, which is new and useful, and this becomes value. The value proposition is, how is this solution better compared to what exists? Uber is a solution that even without Uber, we were happy going around in taxis, right? Now, what did Uber do? They did something else as new and useful. But remember, every solution, every business, every entrepreneurship venture always has a disadvantage. You as an entrepreneur should know your disadvantage. So what is the disadvantage of Uber? If you think about it, it's not the fare, it's not the price surging, etc. That is what we don't like. But the Uber's disadvantage is you cannot book if you don't have a signal, data network, Wi-Fi, etc. Worse, if you cannot book if you don't have a phone. So Ola has a different solution for that. So what I'm saying is, know your solution, understand for whom it is useful, and that should be new as well. Okay, that defines value, and we pay for value. Remember that we pay money for value through a product, through a service. This is a video I'm going to show. I want you to look at this and think value here. What you could see as a value if you are a customer and if you are an entrepreneur. Okay. So $25 retail for holding a beer. So when you're in a ranch in the US, the place where you want to be and the place where there is a house can be huge. There are hectares of land and huge places. So it is useful for someone. Okay. Now, this is the second one. Whatever value you had thought of, please make a note, or if you have a question, note it down. This is another product which this person is presenting.
So the button-up collar stay is a dual-purpose collar stay with a button hook on one end. This helps you fasten small, frustrating buttons on your dress shirts. Also stores up in your collar to keep it sharp, keep it from curling. So you go, that first troublesome button probably going to be on your cuff. You're going to hook it with the button-up collar stays. You use the tip to guide and draw the two pieces of material together. You push it through, and you give it a little spin, and it pops the button right through. Next one could be this top button of your dress shirt. So you can hook the button up to the button. You can use the tip to guide, draw the two pieces of material together, and you can just pop through, give it a little spin. You just buttoned your own button with no frustration, no asking for help. You store it back up in your dress shirt collar to keep it looking sharp, close at hand for the rest of the day.
So I can imagine some of you might be laughing at this, and it's possible, and we have the every right to laugh at anything that we want to. The point is, when you are this person on the screen, when you are the entrepreneur who has come up with this product, you will not like us laughing. Okay, that is the difference you have to learn. How to be objective, how to be understanding what the customer is saying. People can argue that this can be useful for people who are old, who have difficult hands. Yes, but the disadvantage is, imagine the way he buckled up his top button. If they get it wrong, they are piercing themselves through their jugular vein. So it could be worse than holding a button. So you have to understand everything from customer's perspective, right? That's what I wanted to say as well. So how do you find this opportunity for innovation? Is take any situation. There are two opportunities. Either there are gaps in the current situation. Gaps means things that are not supported today. Meaning, I talked about Uber. In the current situation of booking a cab through an app like Uber, you have a gap wherein the booking is not possible when you don't have a network or charge on your phone. And that is a gap, could be the starting point for you to find an innovative solution. It could be a disadvantage of it. And sometimes the disadvantage is, when you book before COVID, if you had to do a web check-in, if you do web check-in, that means you have to walk through without going to the check-in desk in the airport. But if you had a check-in baggage, you have to go and stand in another queue. So I used to tell them, I can as well stand in this queue instead of booking there and then doing this. So it's a disadvantage of the system. So both of them can be starting points for you to start your innovation journey as such, right? So I told you about problems in the future. So let me tell you, present problems are easy to find because they exist already. I talked to you about a couple of them now. Future problems are, if the things go the way they are going today, very soon we will have this problem. Meaning we don't have this problem today, but very soon we could have this problem. Example. So some of you might who are like Animesh techie could have checked out that autonomous cars, right? Autonomous car means basically there is no driver. Imagine 15 years from now we have autonomous car. Maybe not in India. That's a different story. Wherever it is. So that means you are in the office, you are walking out after your day's work, and your car is coming to pick you up. Remember, right? It is driverless. So there is nobody in the car because it's coming to pick you from your office to take you home. It meets with an accident. So whom does the person file case against? Because there is nobody in the car, right? But you can say it's your car. Yes, fair enough, but I'm not driving. So the whole point is these are new problems which can come, which we don't exist or which we don't have today. You have to look at trends. What are the things that are changing? What are the things that are evolving that I can anticipate? It needs a lot of thinking and a lot of reading. Okay, I know there is a deficit of reading in the current generation, but that's its own peril. You have to read because without which you will not know what you don't know. It's very easy to know what you know today, but it's very difficult to know what you don't know today. So if you don't know what you don't know, you will be very happy in life and for the wrong reasons. Okay, you have to read, then you can understand where are the trends, and then you can plot the problem as well. But in the whole concept of entrepreneurship, the end in mind, the value for humanity is the key. Suppose I have a new knowledge, a business application, and a benefit for humanity. It should end with a benefit to humanity. Okay. Suppose I come up with a new knowledge through research called carbon composite. Those of you know, carbon composite is a material which is very light in terms of density compared to even aluminum, but it's very, very strong. Okay, it's very malleable, very strong, and very tensile strength is very high. What can you do as a business application? I can make products which are very light, a MacBook, a suitcase, a flight, everything. Now you heard me right. They did Dreamliner using carbon composite. 85% up to or more is of the Dreamliner aircraft is with carbon composite. Now you think the benefit to humanity. You can fly a lighter aircraft. That means it takes lesser fuel. Your carbon footprint is less. Your contribution to environment is high. That is the benefit you're talking about. Now, this is what you need to have as an entrepreneur. Where is it going to end? Where is it going to make an impact? People will not buy things because there is a transition. If it is a transitory thing, you will lose the business in no time. But if you have the end in mind, it becomes sustainable. Okay. In that context, the anatomy of entrepreneurship is what is the problem? What is the opportunity we should solve? No, we don't go behind that. There are plenty of problems to solve, but not every problem is worth solving. So then what should we do? Why should we solve this problem? You are going to go in behind the valuable opportunity, not the first block called opportunity. Those who go behind the first opportunity are bound to fail because there is no reason, there is no basis, there is no scientific evidence that this will succeed. But those who follow the valuable opportunity has a reason why should we solve this problem. That means there are people who want this problem solved. They are the people who will buy your products tomorrow. Then comes the how do we solve the problem. Very, very often, young people, even experienced people, fall into the trap of starting with the how to solve the problem. You might have heard this. Hey, I have an idea. Dude, I have an idea. Bro, I have an idea. Fine. But that is like having medicine and then trying to find a disease for that. Okay? It is like having medicine first and then finding a disease for that. You can imagine what will be the success rate. If you follow the other way, you're much more bound to succeed because then that solution will deliver value to the customer. Many people do startups because they like their startups more than anybody else. There is no customer for them. I work with a lot of them, even experienced people, 20 years experience in professional world, to the same mistake. They go from how, they jump to value. Only they understand, only they are excited about their product. Okay, it's very important. It is a sad thing, but it need not be. If you just turn it around, how you go about it. So what the opportunity is, why, that is the one you pick, valuable opportunity, then the how, which will create the value. Now, There was multiple studies, and even in Bangalore, I was telling Aditi that I'm working with a lot of startups as part of my firm. IBM did a study. 95% of the startups fail in Bangalore alone, for example, and it's common trend, give and take 5%, 10% here and there. The top three reasons, first reason why startups fail is they build something nobody wants, which I just explained to you. And I can give you multiple examples, which I don't have the time for today because we have another call later on. It's very important to understand that you build something that people want to have. Okay. Then the lack of focus and failing to ask for help, the second and third reason. So remember, you should start with something that people want to have as a solution, a problem that they want to be solved. Now, why is it that it is possible for us to do it? Because we are engineers and we are Indians. We are very good in coming up with creative ways to solve problems. That's a fact. Even World Bank report acknowledges that. But it also says that we are not doing it because it is not that we cannot find the solution. If you go to ENC lab today or any lab, they will tell you the experiment, they'll give you components, the lab attender will give you everything. Even then, if you connect, it will not work. Okay. Now turn it around. You go to the lab and say, I want to do oscillator today. Give me components. This component. That is what we're talking about. We have learned A, we have to learn B. It is not that we cannot find the solution, it is that we cannot see the problem. That's what we need to learn, how to identify problems. We are not good in identifying problems and we need to develop that skill. Today, the majority of people who are valued are who know both, not the solution part. If you're solution part, you are one of the 100,000 people in the company. If you can solve and find the problem before that, then you're in the top 5% of the company. That's true for anybody. Okay. So to succeed, you should ask these two questions. Why and so what? So those who have heard me before should know this, that these are very important things. When I had my vice president job, I was asked to make an IoT product for home, which was an induction cooktop, which we will know. We should use an induction cooktop at home, electric based. So I made an electric based induction cooktop, which can be controlled by a mobile phone. Okay. So if you have an app on the mobile phone, you can control. So I took the prototype home and showed my mother and connected everything. And I showed it to her, launched the app, everything, did a few things, and finally pressed something on the phone and the induction cooktop switched on. So I told my mom, look, it switched on. She said, so? I said, what do you mean so? So what? You're standing in front of the induction. You can switch on by yourself. Why do you need all this circus of launching some app, and everything? Okay. So I was very shocked that, a PhD in innovation is being stuck down by, she's 8th standard or 10th standard, but she's very smart. That's what I'm talking about. Then I was traveling to China the next day. I told her I can switch on from China also with this app. She asked why? Why would you do that? So I should make an ISD call to you, say, "Beta, I have kept rice, can you switch on?" And then I should call you back again, it's done now, can you switch on? So it had no sense. So any pitch, any innovation, any entrepreneurship idea, you can destroy it, you can dissect it, you can analyze it with just these two questions. Why do you want to do that? So what? And keep repeating them in a way that it's very clear what is it that we are trying to achieve. Now, the way to monetize innovation is very simple. Either you can build a new product with this, build a new service with this, and third one, don't ignore, build a new patent with this. That means you may not start your venture. You may not start to do anything with your idea, but you want to protect the idea because somebody else might find your idea useful. And I'll talk about it in a minute. So this is a video about how So why I showed this is, this has helped somebody do something in their factory. Now with the COVID, this could be even more efficient where there is no contact as such, right? So what I was trying to say is, when you look at IP and patents, it's very important to understand how valuable it is, okay? I'm asking you to see in your own mind, guess the number of patents, how to kill a rat. We found 107 or 108 patents. Patents means known protected ways of killing rats. Okay. And if you go to something more complicated like an iPhone, you will see that more than 20,000 patents exist in an iPhone. This is iPhone 3, okay, not even what we have now. So there is enough number of opportunities to innovate, because in this picture, there is a patent product here, the red bag, which looks like this. What does it do? It basically carries 2 pizzas, 1 soda bottle, and some napkins and some sauce. Okay. Now, this could be very interesting to companies who want to get rid of plastic. Remember value. The value is not what you do. The value is how you use what you do. Okay. This was asked a quoted price of 1.5 million US dollars about 15 months ago. This is just pure cardboard folded in a certain way, if you just put it very bluntly. There is no embedded system, there is no AI, there is no blockchain, there is nothing. But the value you can generate for the right person is enormous. So you have to think of innovation, because 95% in this graph, you can see only the top 5%, 2 plus 3% are breakthrough. Because people think when they think patent, it should be very, quantumly different. It need not be. Simple improvements and minor improvements and routine solution, compromise put together, about 95% of the patentable idea. So you and me can patent. I always say, if I have 20 patents, you can have 200 patents. That's not a big deal. So how do you use innovation then as an entrepreneur is, work on making the top line better. Top line, think of this way, what the customers can see. Okay. The robots that you saw, customers cannot see how you manage the workshop. That is called bottom line, what the company can see. So if you make a new, say, sunroof for a car, that is what you can show the customer, and you can charge them for it. But if you see a robot that you can use in your factory, then it is what the company can benefit from, improved efficiency. So innovation based on entrepreneurship can deliver both of this, either top line or bottom line. Usually it is not possible to do both at the same time with one product, but it is thinkable. Now, if you do top line, you help companies revenue, increase the revenue. And if you do the bottom line, you help companies reduce cost. If your customer is a B2B, meaning your business sells to another business, then it is a B2B. It might be cost also for them. It might be revenue also for them. Okay. An innovative company, if your own company, if you start, you can think of new features, new products, new services, etc., new experiences for top line. For bottom line, it could be new business model, new processes of how to use, new structure, etc. Right? You can do anything that you want, and it is in every field. Do not think it has to be in this field only, that field only. I've listed some here, but it can be anything. In fact, notice that I've also listed politics and thieves that I mentioned about. Food, clothing, consumer, you name it, you have it. Okay? It can also be any function. Customer service, people management, manufacturing, communication, sales, marketing, testing, development. Any function is bound to get better. If somebody is saying, I don't have any opportunities, that means they have not actually thought hard about it. Okay. Now comes the critical part from an entrepreneur's perspective, especially who are engineers. Technology and value. We believe somewhere that if you don't use technology, it is not of value. I talked to you about my IoT product. I had used technology, but was there value? No. So technology can be a necessary condition, but never a sufficient condition. So it is important to understand whether it's a blockchain or IoT of things or AI, or like I talked about my own induction. It is the benefits of technology that is important for you. Please understand, I have run many hackathons on technology for government, for businesses, etc. The key is, what is the use case? How is it useful? What is the benefit of a technology rather than the technology itself? Now, if I tell you, I take this mobile phone, which is iPhone, and then I go to my mother again, and I say, Mom, this is lithium polymer ion, 3900 milliampere hour battery. That's the technology, right? Does it make any sense to her? Nothing. If I go to the same mom with the same phone and I just use different set of words, now I focus on benefits. Mom, with your rate of use, with this phone, you can only charge once or twice a week. That should be enough. Where is 3900 milliampere battery? Where is lithium polymer? It is not there. We as engineers are obsessed with technology. Nothing wrong, but it is not going to help us if we don't move away from it to think of also benefits of technology. Okay. As an entrepreneur, you should understand the essence of successful entrepreneurship is creative problem solving. You have to solve problems creatively, which is basically looking at the same thing but thinking something different. Today, everyone can have information. If all the 215 of us here, if we type a same keyword on Google search, are we not going to get the same information? So it is not about information anymore. It's about thinking something different. How do you think something different? What is it that makes my view different than your view or somebody else's view? Context. Context is like a photo frame. If those of you know photography or something, suppose I put you on the top of a mountain and give you a camera and ask you to take a picture. You will pick something to take a picture. Now, what you pick is context. So, in the context of entrepreneurship, context is what is valuable that you are going to identify, which is depicted in this video. Done. So the engineer walks away feeling delighted that he has helped solve a problem of someone. Now we have solved a problem to this customer on the screen for whom it was never a problem. Now it is a problem. We have created a problem, right? So all that happens because we never try to spend time in understanding the problem. We always get carried away to the how part. Do you remember the anatomy? What, why, and how? We start with why. This is what happens. We need to understand how the solution works and what is the problem in fact, right? To do that, we need to understand how to question. If I ask what is 8 plus 8, of course you all can answer this, you will get 16. The way you should start thinking is, what all can add up to 16? Can you imagine the type of answers you can get with practically infinite, right? 10 plus 6, 2 plus 14, you can even 14.5 plus blah, blah. The solutions are infinite. That's the way you have to think from standard way of asking question and reinterpret the situation, understand the context. That is how you make sure you do. Suppose I ask you this again to understand context. If I want to go from point A to point B, I have an orange route, a blue route, a black route, and a green route. If I ask you what is the best way you recommend for me to take from point A to B, some of you might tell me blue, some of you might tell red, some of you tell me green, maybe some of you tell black. Actually, before you answer, you should say it depends. And it depends on what I want to do. It could depend on cost, it could depend on time, it could depend on distance, it could depend on comfort, it could something else. I have no clue. So without knowing my problem, my context, don't give me a solution. Very important as an entrepreneur to understand this. Don't be in a hurry to solve a problem which does not exist. Okay? To innovate, remember you have to ask two questions, why and so on. So from the anatomy, what is the problem? Why is this a problem? Then comes the how is it this problem is going to be solved. And these two help you identify it's a valuable opportunity or not. Okay. What are the traits of an entrepreneur? I want you to watch this video because I want to ask a short question around it. So the reason I showed this video is the guy was the Charlie Chaplin will be your life as an entrepreneur. Suddenly you'll be put into situations which you are not prepared for. You think you don't get a chance. Nobody in the business world will ask you, are you prepared? When it comes, you have to take it, right? Sometimes you feel you're on top of things, and the next moment you're down and out, and you get up again and fight. So this is what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and this is what it will be going forward as well. So you as an entrepreneur has to understand whether you are working within a company as an entrepreneur or your own as an entrepreneur. Understand that you are connecting innovation to business, and this by inherent design is risky. Risky in the sense nothing is given for granted. Okay. Last week I was supposed to conduct a workshop in Detroit on innovation, but I'm here in India because nobody could even anticipate 8 weeks, 10 weeks ago that we would have this situation, right? But that's what you need to deal with as an entrepreneur. You have to don three roles. One as an artist, where everything seems possible. One as a scientist, where a lot of constraints are put on you. And one as an industrialist, where you think of scale. You don't want to be a 10 people startup throughout the life. You cannot be a teenager your entire life, right? So you have to grow. For that, you have to think as an artist, scientist, and industrialist. For that, your education, you have to use it smartly. I call it the 4E model: education, experience, and expertise. One can get you become an employee, okay? And with some experience, you can become an entrepreneur. In fact, some of the surveys says some amount of work experience is good to become a successful entrepreneur, okay? With expertise, you can become a consultant to entrepreneurs or companies. But the most important thing that you need to understand is you have a third option called intrapreneur. So with education, instead of being an entrepreneur, after some experience, you can become an intrapreneur. But how do you make all this work for you? Is becoming exposure. You need to have the right exposure to have how this will all work out for you. Okay. So remember this, that you are not only restricted to become an entrepreneur, you can become an intrapreneur as well. I just want to show you that 2022 skills of World Economic Forum show that you have to be good in innovation and analytical thinking. And the future skills as well shows that if you see number 1, 2, 3, complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, essentially it is innovation, right? So COVID-19 has come up as a wake-up call. Usually people ask me to play it again because they were also caught napping, so I'm doing it. So what this kid has done is that he has lost that moment of opportunity, because he was caught napping. So this is a wake-up call for all of us. Don't think what you did yesterday you'll have to do tomorrow as well and life will go on. Yes, life will go on, but not with what you do yesterday. Okay? And it is important for you to be in the moment, not just clap with others, because this kid has no clue why others are clapping. He has missed that point. He has missed the joke. Okay? So you need to understand that you can be very safe, very saying, oh, it is, same life, what I did day before yesterday, I did yesterday, I will do today and tomorrow as well. You're completely wrong. You have to take your chances. You cannot be too safe. You have to understand that you need to get it right. And to get it right, you have to try. And the easiest way that I have followed, which might work for you, might not work for you, I don't know, is try not to do what everybody else does. If you think about what I just said, don't do what everybody else does, it becomes that much more easier for you to find something unique. Okay? And this is my email. You can connect me with on LinkedIn. So I just shared some of the books and TEDx talk I have. If you can go and listen to my TEDx talk, if you just type TEDx and my name, you will get that as well. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. And thank you so much. And if there is any questions, we can take it.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with words which we were very oblivious to. Like, they existed, but you basically reposted the what to us, the reason for its origination, as you say, the answer to the what and so what. So moving on to the questions, we have a lot of questions from this webinar, and they will be projected on the screen, as you can see. So the first one we have is from Vaidik Guha. He asked, how can we pitch a problem with its plausible solution without having any working experience in the field to a venture capitalist?
Okay, yeah, see, to a venture capitalist or someone else, the amount to get confidence in your product. So when people pitch to me, it's very important for you to understand. It's a good question. Half only is content. The other half is your work, your energy, your attitude. So that means we look at the person who is pitching as much as what the person is pitching. So let me give an example. There was a person who came and pitched, said, "Sir, this is an idea which will change the way the world will work." I said, "You don't have energy yourself. How will you change the world?" It's not to do with experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if there is one thing, if somebody is very excited about something, there is always one giveaway, whether it's personal world or professional world. That person will speak loudly with excitement. It's a clear-cut indicator that person is excited about something. And yes, experience does not matter. The venture capitalist knows where to get experience for you, but he should know that first 50% is okay. He will fill the second 50%.
Sir, you say that engineers are not very good sellers. As
Absolutely.
I just watched your TEDx. So you say that engineers are not good sellers. What world have they not given up yet?
See, what we do, we believe, engineers, that good ideas sell themselves. Good products sell themselves.
We don't know how to.
We don't even expect. It is like logic is everything for us. Read the book called, I'll just type it in the chat here. Read a book by this gentleman, if you have not done, by Zig Ziglar. Okay, he says, "What is the process?
How to sell?"
Yeah, what is the process?
Yes.
It is not logical. It is emotional. In the end, we buy a drug that you feel is good for you. Did you go and test in the lab? No, but you felt it is good for you. There are so many shampoos, especially for girls. You get crazy thing how many shampoos you have. Everything says it works at the serum level, root level. How?
No.
But you believe in the end, you feel it is good for you. We engineers don't go to feeling. We think logic. That's where I was talking about.
Okay, that was well explained. Even my query, I got a perfect answer. So next one is from Saurabh Sharma. He asked, what will be the shape of the post-COVID startup world? Like capitalists will be reluctant to invest in new startups?
Good question. I love analogies because that helps people understand. Suppose I locked Saurabh Sharma up for 2 days, gave him very limited food. Okay, for 2 days I locked him up, put in isolation, but gave him some food to survive. Third day, is Saurabh Sharma more hungry or less hungry? More hungry. Now, think of the same for capitalists and stuff. They have been starved of opportunities. So you have to just turn it around, give them a good reason to invest, they will. They are waiting to invest. Now, the problem is, which is a good opportunity? That's what I talked about. The valuable opportunity is what they are looking for. Now, there are enough opportunities, Saurabh, which you can pitch, and capitalists will be more than happy to invest.
Okay, Saurabh has noted, I guess. And the next one we have is from Rakesh Nayak, and there are a couple of questions from him. Feels as if he is some idea is brewing up in the four walls. So, sir, how does the social insurance system and the tax burden of economic activity affect entrepreneurship and innovation?
See, if you see any company or a country, there is one metric called how much is the percentage of GDP that is invested into innovation and research. In India, it was about 0.9%, 0.95%, hovering around that many years. For companies, depends on percent of sales of revenue. So it is, like I showed the loop, it is a sustainable loop that you need to have. Companies need to make new products. They should generate new revenue, additional revenue. They should pay taxes. And it has to go into the cycle of feeding back to research. Without research, there is no innovation. Without innovation, there is no business. Without business, there is no research. So they do work
It's
in
all
a
a
loop.
cycle. Yes.
Yes. So it does
It's all a
affect.
cycle.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you how you get out of it and generate your own new cycle, a new paradigm that you wish to follow. So the next one, again, as I said, Rakesh is very curious about this session and very excited too. Sir, does the climate and environment influence innovation and entrepreneurship?
Yes and no. Let me ask you a question, Rakesh. Wherever you live, say take 1 kilometer radius. Last 10 have you ever seen a tea shop closed, getting shut down, like a Kodak, like a Nokia? So entrepreneurship is a way to find that actual need, and when there is an actual need, it will survive. Now, the environment and climate can make it faster or slower. It depends. It increases or amplifies the speed, but it does not change the direction of innovation entrepreneurship.
Hmm. Right, sir. So, moving on to the next, Rakesh again. Sir, how do we know that our startup is falling and how we prevent startup failure?
Okay, there are two questions. The first question I try to address saying, if usually in life of startup, third year is very prominent. In marriage, they say 7 years is golden. If the seventh year you have a problem, then you have a problem. So
Yes.
most of you will not know that, but that's okay. So in startup, it's 3 years. If the third year you are not making sufficient revenue, it's clearly time to reboot everything. That is the second question. Now the first question is, that's the first question. The second question, how do we prevent? Do spend enough time to validate the problem, not the solution. If you are going to a doctor, as soon as you walk into the doctor's room, suppose Aditi is doctor, I walk into her room, seeing me, she gives me medicine.
Huh.
Will I?
As you said, that taking the medicine before the diagnosis.
Yeah, no. Without
Makes
doing
no
that,
sense.
how can she
It's a
give me medicine?
hogwash.
She might be the best doctor, but she doesn't know my problem. That's what happens in startups. People very quickly want to go into solution space, and that's the biggest way people end up with failures. Rakesh, so don't do that. If it takes 3 months extra, it is worth solving a good problem than being in a hurry to solve the wrong problem.
And even if you derive on answers, generate questions from that, right, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because
It will be
going the
damn
other way
sure if
around
you want.
is. Yes. So next we have is from Yatharth. He asked, Sir, how much job experience do we need to have before starting a startup?
So there are different studies which say couple of years is good, 3 to 5 years is good, and the reason is very different. It's not, see, 5 years can change technology itself. A different technology has come. It's not familiar with the technology. The experience is basically you have to change the word from experience to exposure. Okay, if you work for a startup for 1 year, you will learn much more than working for a big company for 5 years. The processes,
Yes.
how do you procure even who opens the door of your company? Do you know? If you ask a certain company who, say, suppose your seniors are working in Infosys or HCL, ask them who opens the door of the company. They would not know. But if you work for a startup, you will know that too. You might have seen the chartered accountant, whom you will never see in a big company. So
Big
exposure is keyword, Yatharth, and usually it is good to get exposed to the right things. What is the right thing? Exposed to the right thing means the one that you want to pursue. Let me give an example. My nephew wanted to be, my niece actually, she wanted to be a doctor. The institute in Singapore said, you have to follow a gynecologist for 3 months. Come back and then sign up the form, say, I want to be a doctor. So what did she do in 3 months? She shadowed a gynecologist. She saw childbirth at the age of 18 years. She saw blood. She saw operations. She was in the theater. I can't do that. But she did it at the age of 18. Then she came up and coolly said, yes, I want to be a doctor still. Now, that is what I meant, Yathar. When you want experience, think of exposure. It's not time. Don't be misleading to yourself saying it's a number of years. No, time has nothing to do with exposure. What you learn can be condensed into a very short time frame as well.
Experience is what you need to seek.
Yes.
So moving on to the next question.
Get yourself exposed to the right things.
Sure, Yatharth must be noting it. And he has asked another question. What's your stance on side businesses like YouTube channel? Like we can get much needed experience while being in full job? I guess you can
Yeah,
answer this pretty well.
I
You
think you
have
should.
maybe started one.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
you should. Let me
And
give
it's
an
pretty much
example.
rolling. Yes, sir.
Edison, when he was a boy, all of us love to play when we were kids, but he used to make newspaper. So there was no newspaper at that time. There was no news TV channel, nothing. So people in Delhi would not know what's happening in Chandigarh, for example. So he used to take a train from Chandigarh to Delhi,
Mhm.
collect all the news in Chandigarh, print in some papers, make copies while sitting in the train, and deliver in Delhi as newspaper. Now the
Mhm.
choice was this. Instead of playing, he chose this. So same to you, Yatharth. Good point. You have time now. You have time to waste. You have time to use. Choice is yours. Like I said in the beginning, how you use this time is completely up to your benefit or loss. So very good point. You should always use your time.
There must be a child out there manufacturing tissue papers,
Yeah.
keeping in mind the pandemic crisis of tissue papers. So the next one is from Rakesh again. So what can or cannot be patented? Can we patent a chemical formula? He
So
has,
I can answer the
Rakesh has
second
missed
part.
it, that poison part.
So
Yes,
what
sorry.
can be patent is depends on the country. Basically, there is a patent for design. So, for example, how say a scissor might look. A Coca-Cola bottle is a patent. The shape of the bottle is a patent. So form. The other thing you can patent is function. Okay, how does
Yes.
a splash screen come up? How does X happen? Apart from this, you cannot patent much. Now things like software are called copyright. That means you can say this is my work. A movie script is a copyright. You cannot patent it. So chemical formula can be patented also, but they will ask you for what is the use of that formula. Coca-Cola's essence is not even patented. It's called trade secret
Oh,
rather than a form of information.
oh.
Somebody in the family knows that. Except them, nobody knows. Because if you write the formula in a patent, everybody knows the formula. I can read the patent and I see this is the formula. So they have chosen not to write it in a formula as well, in the patent.
Okay. Rakesh got his question answered. Moving on to the next one. Saurabh Sharma has placed a question again. Does the defense sector provide opportunities for startups?
Yes, so there is a huge
Taking a
focus
change.
on defense. Yeah, there's a huge focus on defense. There is a special seed funding and stuff like that also for defense startups. And I know a couple of friends who do this as a even earlier it was there, but now there is an emphasized focus. So the answer, Saurabh, is yes. There is a lot of opportunities.
Okay. So next question, please. Saurabh has a question again, and this one time it's a bit long one. Government has decided to cut the arm imports in the wake of pandemic. Would it bring positive opportunities for the entrepreneurs, though they do not have much experience in the field?
Yes. See, on a lighter side, you don't have to have cancer to find medicine for cancer. So there are ways where you can contribute. And now here comes what technology I talked about. If your technology is going to help to design an arm, so you are there, your role is to play the technology part. Now the guy from defense or from DRDO will look at the application or the contextual part. So an image
Yeah.
processing guy will not know much about space engineering, but the space
Yes.
engineering is by somebody else. So yes, the
Yes.
answer is yes.
There is a lot of opportunities for the entrepreneurs. Next one is from Akansha Priya. She asks, considering the competition we have these days, how can a startup win the trust of people to buy our product?
Very good question. So trust is the only reason we buy. That's why I asked you to read the book by Zig Ziglar. Trust is what makes people buy. Okay, I don't trust people who force me to buy something. Even if the product is good, I will have that 5% doubt. Maybe there is something that he or she is not telling me. So the best way for people, like I'm preempting what you will read in the book of Zig Ziglar, is how do you then sell your product when there is competition? Is Make them believe, actually, seriously, honestly, show them how it helps them, how your product helps someone. Don't be in a hurry or a desperate state to make them buy your product. Say, if this is your problem, this is how my solution works. And they will ask you to test you, how does the competition solution work? Don't lie. Tell them the actual fact. This is how their solution works. And I do that all the time. Even if you want to buy a fridge, I go to the showroom and I ask, he shows everything. The moment he says buy brand X, I'll ask him about brand Y. I want to know how open he is, how honest he is. So you should be the same.
But at the same time, you should know how to influence the psyche of the other one. Yeah.
See, the truth here is you don't have to influence. The only influence comes is to genuinely know their problem and then find your position of your product as a solution to their problem. See, if I want to buy a toothpaste, there are, like I said, 28 toothpaste. How do you sell your toothpaste? So there comes, for what reason are you making toothpaste now? That's why I talked about why is this a problem? Why do you want to make a toothpaste? Then you pitch that solution genuinely. And there could be people who don't have a problem. Yeah, then you're fine. Otherwise, you're forcing. Remember, when you go to Big Bazaar, the moment you finish paying cash, you will see somebody is trying to come towards you. Who is that person? The guy who wants to sell credit card. And you avoid him because you don't want to, you know that he is forcing you into, you're tricking you into something. That is why you reason out. Now, if somebody is waiting, doing nothing, just giving you a sample to eat, maybe you will want to talk. So you need to not force yourself, be desperate, but genuinely show the value, how it helps. That's the best way I can.
Pretty nice answer, very nicely answered. Akansha, very colorful DP after the prolonged black and whites. So we have the next one is from Vidushi Agrawal. What makes an entrepreneur different from a corporate worker?
Okay. I did a webinar some time ago. I'll see if I can share the link with Aditi and Vipra. So basically, that's only about how to choose to be an employee or to be an entrepreneur. You can have a look at it. Maybe some more things you can find. But the quick answer, Vidushi, is this: as a corporate worker, many decisions are made by somebody else. What furniture to buy, what projects to work on, how many people. So many decisions are not made by you. One way, it's very easy. It's very comfortable. You don't have to bother about anything. Like I said, tomorrow I want to take off, you can take off. As an entrepreneur, you have to make every decision. Let me give you my own example. After working 24 years, I became an entrepreneur. The last day of my work and the next day of my first day as an entrepreneur, I didn't have a laptop. All my life, I was given a laptop, whatever laptop I wanted. Now, suddenly there was a day where I didn't have a laptop. So first I was telling my partner, hey, I don't have a laptop. She said, yeah.
How can I start?
You have to buy one. I have to buy one. I have never bought one. Yeah, now we have to decide which one to buy. And this is how it starts. So biggest difference in the decisions you make as an entrepreneur is totally different. But trust me, Vidushi, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you will become a complete person 10 times faster than an employee.
Okay. That was a very motivating answer, sir. So next one is from Shrikant. He asked, is there any training or course to become successful entrepreneur?
Well, thank you, Shrikant. This is a second time I got a question. I got a question from Canada, from a venture capitalist. That's just 4 days ago. Can you design a course for becoming successful entrepreneur? Well, so entrepreneurship is like learning cycle, Shrikant, or like swimming. So any amount of course will not make you successful. Meaning, if I give you a swimming manual, you will not
a chance of drown.
Yes. But having said that, there are enough courses to read, but don't spend too much time reading it. Get into the water, which means either you join a startup just to experience it. Maybe somebody asked the question, can I do side-time, part-time business? Join a startup for free. Now, you are saying it for free, meaning you're not expecting a salary, Shrikant. But the experience you get, actually, you have to pay them salary. That is what experienced and successful entrepreneur, Shrikant. It is very important to know. I will tell you, I never thought I'll be an entrepreneur. Okay? I had concluded myself, put a label to me that I am not fit to be an entrepreneur. So I was a quarter entrepreneur, meaning I tried 0.25 part of my time. Then I was a half entrepreneur, which I failed both, till I became a full entrepreneur. I had to start swimming, not having my feet in the water, sitting on the side of a swimming pool. I will not learn swimming. I have to be in the water. I have to drink water like Charlie Chaplin did. I have to get beaten. I have to stand up. Then I will fight, and then I will win also. So that's what it is. Hope I
What was
answered.
the motivation after half the on entrepreneur title that you had bagged? What was the motive behind becoming a full entrepreneur?
Very good question. Very few people ask me this. So when I was working way back in 2012 itself, I used to conduct workshops on innovation. So I did a lot of research. See, once what happened, I filed 6 patents in 3 months. So my people around me got too excited. I said, "You are like a magician. How can you do that?" I said, "It is nothing like that. It's not that difficult to do it. But if you want to do it, there is a way." So I designed a course of how to become an innovation expert. And a lot of people started asking me. That's when I realized it's not just a problem, it's a valuable opportunity. So when I saw the valuable opportunity, I found my partner, which is very important to have a good partner. It is very, very
Yes.
safe to do with at least two people, not with one. And then I jumped into this. That's how it was for me. So my main motivation was it was a valuable problem.
Okay. Yes, as you always say in your presentation, valuable problem. And Manoj Kumar has asked how to tackle society problems to make easy life of peoples in underdeveloped countries.
See,
Basically, the
any
whole
country,
entrepreneurship
underdeveloped or
concept.
not,
Yes.
every person want to have an easy life. There is no, in fact, the investor in Intel, Apple, Teledyne, etc., he used to say, if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, make somebody's working life or how they live easier. So you are spot on when you said to make life easy. For that, you have to understand what is making it difficult. Again, it goes back to the opportunity. Find what is the problem that they are finding it difficult today that you can remove and make it easy.
So, on a lighter note, we have this question by Prabal Goel. He asks, how to become the next Mr. Musk?
Very simple. It is all depending on what you think is feasible, not possible.
Why not become the next Prabal Goel, Mr. Prabal Goel, Mr.
Yes,
Goel?
maybe must should
Yes.
think, can I become Mr. Prabal?
So the last one I guess we have for the event is by Akshat Manoja. He asks, so what should be our first step after recognizing a problem on which we want to work on or startup?
Okay,
Work
there is
on
a,
our
I cannot give actually a full answer. Again, there is another three-part webinar I did, which I will share the link with you, Ajit, to remind me. It's a
Yes.
3-day workshop webinar I did for innovation, how to identify problem, how to identify solution, how to pitch, etc. So you can go through that. But the quick answer is, when there is a problem, we have to understand whether we think it is a problem, whether it actually
Yes.
exists. And empathy interview survey will help you do and help you recognize a problem actually.
Recognize
So
the
here's the
problem.
link. It is on IEEE TEMS TV. So again, these are the advantages of becoming TEMS members also, that you get a lot of
Yes.
such content which you can directly use from. It's a set of practitioners, right? So it is easier for you to understand.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session, and the way you taught us about how to identify the cycle, and how to create one of our own, and the fact that you can derive questions from answers. So
Yeah.
that also the part that you enlightened us about has given us a lot of information, and that's all I would say. Thank you so much for being here and joining us on the IEEE NCO channel, and being the first ever presenter under in the IEEE NCO StartHub
Oh,
initiative,
right.
which
I'm happy.
collaborates with ICI. Yeah, you are the first one. The e-cell, obviously your name goes with it. The e-cell entrepreneurship cell is made for people like you who make others enlighten others about it. So I would be ending this video conferencing, and please do like, share, and subscribe the IEEE NCO channel. We will be
Sure.
coming back again to you soon on this channel only. So Thank you, sir. Thank
Definitely.
you for being part.
Thank you very much. Hope it was useful, and connect to me on LinkedIn if you want to have a chat, or also like I spoke
Yes,
to
sir,
Aditi on email,
definitely.
and
We will be attaching all the links and the documents that you have provided us, the names and everything, and we will be mailing it to every attendee who had registered for this event, and we will try to spread it as much as possible.
yeah, and I will wait to hear from you that you have opened the TEMS chapter, and any help from my
Yes,
side. Take
sure,
care.
sir. We will
Thank you.
definitely approach you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good luck. Bye bye.
Thank you.